Hello, my name is Erika Brechtel. I am a brand builder, strategist, and designer. I have been working with women leaders and female founders for over 19 years, and I absolutely love what I do. I feel as if I get to live my very best life, and I'm so excited to share with you a little bit about my journey, how I got here. It is not a straight path. There are certainly lots of twists and turns, and hopefully it influences you in terms of your own journey and your own path if you are thinking about working for yourself or building your own business or even in your career. So let's back up a little bit. Let me just share with you a little bit about my story so that you can see what I'm saying about, like, it's not a direct path. Obviously, I'm here now. I'm in New York City, actually, for a week of client meetings. I'm LA based, but here in New York. And as I said, living kind of what I feel like is my best life. So I am originally from Hawaii, and the reason why I bring that up is because I'm actually a great granddaughter of immigrants. So in the early 1900s, my two great grandmothers were picture brides from Japan. So that meaning they sacrificed everything, they left everything that they knew, and they got on a boat and went to Hawaii and essentially met their future husbands on the docks in Hawaii. Now, growing up in Hawaii was a wonderful experience, and I know that it has this very exotic sound to it. It's just a place for vacations, but it's actually a state full of immigrants and full of descendants of immigrants. And from that, I was able to enjoy a really rich and wonderful childhood. Then I went to UCLA, where I got to play women's soccer, which at the time was not as popular as it is now, but still it was at the time one of my talents, and I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I thought I was going to be going into museum curating or being an art gallerist because I was an art history major at UCLA. But as life would have it, I took an internship one summer and I worked with an interior designer in Beverly Hills. And I had so much fun. And so I actually went into interior design for a few years. And that was really rewarding. And this was definitely before interior design was even all that popular. But I got to work on some great projects for Disneyland and Warner Brothers and some other huge name clients around the world. But we also had, during that, this was many, many years ago, and before you were even born, I'm sure, we had a big internet boom. And I got attracted to web design. So I really wanted to get a job at an agency. And so how I did that was I taught myself how to hard code with HTML my own portfolio. But that was enough to get the attention of several agencies. And so I interviewed and I ended up getting sort of a junior position there. That eventually led to getting an art director position with an international corporation, which was so much fun because I got paid to travel to Sydney and Hong Kong and Tokyo to provide graphic support for our internal teams. Now, again, those were few years. I was only there for a couple of years because the company got bought out. So then in 2003, so this was about what now, 19 years ago, that I was suddenly in a position where I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? At the time, I moved to New York City with my then husband, who was going to be attending grad school at Columbia. And I was like in the city, thinking I'm going to get this great job and interviewing for months. And it's one of those times that I can say, you know, some things happen for a reason and some things don't happen for a reason. I interviewed for months and couldn't get a job. And it wasn't that there was a shortage of jobs. I really started to think I was not hireable. But at the end of the day, I understand what a pivotal point that was in my career, because I was not meant to work for anyone else. I was meant to work for myself. So while I was interviewing, obviously I had to get other means. And so I was just taking on clients at the time, and it's just kind of worked out that I've never had to look back since. So that was 19 years ago. Now, I will tell you, as I said, that even though I feel so lucky to be on this path that I am in now, you know, our economies are not recession proof. And so in 2009, 2010, we had a major recession, at least here in the US. And I had just had my daughter in 2009. And I was really looking at, okay, this is a scary time. People all around us are losing their homes. And we had bought a home a few years prior. And what I decided to do at that time was really take a look around and say, okay, how can I get exposure for me and my business at this time? I can't rely on the current clients that I have because they're all cutting their budgets back. So what can I do? So it's really going to depend on if this happens to you, and it will. I mean, again, it's not about failure, it's about resilience, it's about pivoting. When this happens to you, is looking around for opportunities where you can put your time and energy that are going to benefit your career or your business. And so at that time, interior design blogs were huge. So what I did was I started a blog, and I decided to just design my own house and photograph my own house, and it paid off. I ended up getting a ton of big press for it. I mean, who's going to feature a graphic designer, right? But if it's something tangible, like a product or like your home, then it's a lot easier to photograph and get featured. And so with that, and I would recommend that to any of you, if you are starting your own business, starting your own brand, if it's a personal brand, whatever press that you can get. And if you go to my website, you can see what I mean, erikabrechtel.com. You can see the press logos on there. It automatically lends a sense of credibility, right? So if you see those press logos on there, you're like, oh, wow, okay, she's legit. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. So that was one of the reasons why I decided to go that route. And it really paid off in the sense that I got the press, I started to get a following, and I've never really had to market myself beyond that. People come to me who want to work with me. I've been doing this for so long now that I can tell you that I get to choose the clients that I want to work with, and they have to be aligned with what I'm doing and what I'm all about. Now, what's really important, of course, is you have to know what you're doing, why you're doing, what it's all about, right? So this is where my skill set I get to give to you in a couple of different ways. So first of all, you have to figure out as you're going into your career or building your business, it's not just a brand for businesses, but also just like your personal brand as you go through your career and you want to build sort of a leadership brand. You have to know your brand essentials. And this is what I call your 4 Ps. Okay. And if you go to, I'm going to give you a link, brandbuildingfoundations.com/guide. You can get this information so you don't have to write it down right now. But the 4 Ps that you need to know. Number 1 are your people. So it's really important to figure out who you're doing this for, right? Because it's not just for yourself. It can't just be for yourself. I think we all know that that's just not going to work. That's just not going to fly. So really figuring out, who you want to help, right? What's your skill set, how you can actually help. You may not have all the answers, but if you know that, then that sets you far apart from anybody else. Okay, the second P is purpose. You have to know what your purpose is. And this is your why. Why are you doing it? And I say you have to be emotionally connected to your why. So as you're going through this process, as you're going through your figuring out what your purpose is, really check in with yourself. Do you have an emotional reaction to it? Does it upset you? Does something upset you? Then you know you're on the right track because you can figure out how to create a solution from that. Or is it something that really lights you up and gets you excited? And again, then you know that you're on the right track as well. So thinking about your purpose, why you're doing what you're doing, and see if you can get really big with it. So I'll give you an example. For me, I am, as I said, I work with female founders and women leaders. I've been doing it for 19 years. And so I am really, really lucky to be able to do that. And I thought that was kind of my purpose. But what I realized is that I'm really passionate about women's rights and girls' education. And so for a long time, I thought maybe those two things weren't connected, and it was more of a hobby, and I serve on nonprofit boards, and that was a way that I could sort of fulfill my purpose outside of my business or my work. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. If I can work with women to build brands and to build businesses that make a positive impact, then I am contributing to positive business, right? And I'm contributing potentially to ways that can influence women's rights, girls' education globally. So that's how you can kind of think about your purpose. Like, is there a way that you can get bigger with it? And what's great about that is the bigger you get, the more you can fill it in with different products or services or offerings that you yourself can give. So not only do I do one-on-one services with clients, but I'm also an author. I have an online course. I provide it through various social media channels. So I hope you'll check me out. I'm everywhere at erikabrechtel.com, or Erika Brechtel, sorry. And I'm actually just starting a TikTok channel, and I'm going to be providing a lot of videos and tips there if you want to follow me there. I don't think there's anything up quite yet, maybe just like one video. But so anyway, there are a lot of different ways that you can fill that and different opportunities. I speak, I facilitate, obviously I mentor. So because I know why I'm doing all of this, you can see that it's not just about the one-on-one client work, and it opens you up to a lot of other opportunities. So that was a long one, and I apologize. That was the number 2. But the third P is positioning. So this is where you really get to look at how you're unique, right? So look at your particular talents or skills. What makes you unique versus perhaps a potential competitor or peer, as I like to say? Look at people that you admire, right? And that you want to be like. I always say brand muses are so important because they can really help you refine your direction. But really what's important is getting down to what you think your people, that first P, what it is that they actually need from you, right? So for me, I know that I'm giving women, leaders and female founders, and potentially girls, clarity around what makes them unique, clarity around their brand. And what that does is it also gives them confidence in terms of putting themselves out there. And I also provide that through my design services. So if I can help girls and women with designing a beautiful brand, that also helps them put themselves out there confidently. So that's how I provide uniqueness that serves my why. So you can try that out yourself. And as I said, you want to make sure that you are creating some kind of an emotional connection with your audience. So really think a little deeper. So it's not just, like I said, the branding services that I'm providing, making things look pretty. I am actually empowering women to take control of their brands and create something really authentic and wonderful that they feel great about and fulfilled. Okay, that was the third P. The fourth P is your personality. Now, I created a 12 archetype framework called the Brand Type Personality Framework. And I actually offer a free 40-minute workshop that I would love for you to go and take. Obviously, I don't have 40 minutes here to go through all of them with you, but I get into detail there. And that's at brandbuildingfoundations.com/workshop, where you can actually download a little personality quiz to take and start to figure out what your brand personalities are so that you can communicate authentically. And like I said, it doesn't have to just be your business. It can be on social media, it can be in interviews, it can be in your career as you're going along your path. So I highly recommend that. And that will really also give you potentially some ideas in terms of content or different ways that you can be true to your brand personalities. We usually have like 3 or 4. There's usually like a strong one. But I'll give you myself as an example. And you can see this, as I said, if you look at any of my social media or any of these links that I'm providing for you of mine. My 3 personalities are guide, achiever, and original. And you can see that in everything that I'm doing. So original brand, of course, being like my more designer self, my creative self. The guide, because as I'm doing here, I'm speaking, I have an online course. I want to teach you how to build the best version of your brand. And the achiever aspect is just natural within me. I have always been someone who is trying to strive for more. And as I'm sharing this journey with you, you can see striving for more, pivoting, seeing how I can continue to accomplish and achieve. The important piece of that, though, it's not just for me. I really am passionate about serving others. Okay, so go to that link. You can figure out what your brand personalities are. And I would love to hear from you what you think. And so, like I said, you can find me everywhere at Erika Brechtel. And the last thing I want to mention is that I am currently, this is new for me, so I've got another new thing to share with you. But recently I've been trying to figure out, as I told you, like, how can I combine the fact that I have this passion around women's rights and girls' education? How can I, and it's global, I want it to be global, with the work that I'm doing. And it kind of dawned on me, and I will say this is very recent. So you are some of the first people to hear about this. I've only shared it with a few people, but I formed a corporation, and it's called Eleonora Inc. And that's ELANOURA.com. And I just have a website, a quick like one pager up there right now. But the goal with that is I am creating a movement. I'm creating a collective of women and girls who want to be a part of learning how to create positive impact with what they do. So there's going to be learning opportunities, events. I've already got 2 global founders retreats. I've got one in Morocco for next year. I've got one in Majorca for August, September of 2022. And then also, of course, my one-on-one services. But a lot of the whole point is to connect you with impact opportunities, and what are some nonprofits, that we can connect with and then do some work with. So I'm working on that now. So it's not fully formed, but I would love for you to join and get on the list at that website, eleonora.com, because we are going to be sending out a lot more information about how you can get involved. I'm starting a directory of women-powered brands. So a lot of my clients as well, who are amazing women, and I can't wait to share them with you. And we can all support each other in this journey. How can we continue to create positive impact, right? Because isn't that the point? Don't you want to look back at your life and really know, like, this is what I gave back. This is what I provided. I am proud of the legacy that I'm creating. And so with a lot of my clients, this is something that we all want to think about. And I'm 19 years into it. I'm thinking about it. You're just starting. You have the opportunity to build a career and build a brand that can go any way that you want it to go. And that is so exciting. But that is an essential question to ask yourself right now. And it may seem sort of big and impossible, and how could I possibly think that far down the line? But what it does is it sets an intention, and that intention allows you to kind of flow, as I've shared with you my journey and all the pivots and turns that I've gone through along the way, how I'm going to get to that eventual end goal, your legacy goal. And so we want to have that perspective as you're starting on your own journey. So when those opportunities and those people come along your way, you'll say, hey, you know what? That's an opportunity that I want to take, because it's going to help get me to that end point. So set that intention for yourself. Really think about what it is that you want at the end of the day, how you want to be remembered. If someone were to Google you, what kind of articles or what kind of press or what kind of links do you want to show up? It's not going to happen overnight, of course. Look, I've been doing this for a really long time, but with that intention, you can start to form it. You can start to look for potential volunteer opportunities, press opportunities, as I mentioned, people, organizations that you can partner with, internships that you might want to take. So with all of that, I hope that you'll join me, because as I mentioned, this is really exciting. It's very new, but you can follow me at Erika Brechtel. You can also follow my very new initiative at Eleonora Inc., ELANOURA Inc. INC. And that website is just without the ink. And the links should be here. And then also I wanted to mention that I'm also a mentor. So I do take on a mentee or two every year. So I typically will select one from UCLA, but I want to be able to offer to someone out there, an opportunity to work with me, or for me to provide free mentoring for you. I do a lot of brand coaching, paid brand coaching for women founders, but this would be just me offering a mentorship opportunity for you. Now, I want to also mention I'm very passionate about supporting refugee girls and women. So if you are a refugee, I don't want you to feel that you can't reach out to me for this opportunity. And please reach out to me if you're interested, or if you want to work with me, if you want to be a part of this movement. I'm also looking for anyone who might want to help with writing. So as I create this new initiative, as I mentioned, I want to be able to highlight women businesses, women powered businesses. So if that is a particular skill that you want to explore, I hope that you'll reach out to me. That would be a paid opportunity. And really kind of developing this directory, like let's get this group of women together to help build positive business in the world. Like, how can we make that positive impact, as I mentioned? All right. So I think that's it for me. That is my time. But I just want to sign off from New York City. I've got to get to some client meetings. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you. All right. Bye.